Willkommen zurück zu The Zodiac Trial. Ich bin noch sehr traurig, weil mein Lieblingscharakter Monkey im letzten Part von uns gegangen ist. Und Pig hat sich in einem Raum eingesperrt und ist jetzt noch ein paar Schritte vom Ziel entfernt. Aber leider sitzt sie jetzt fest, denn sie kann nicht mehr viel tun, weil wir sie mit Dragon Breath einsperren werden da drin. Für 6 Runden mindestens. Hahaha. Und jetzt müssen wir gucken, dass wir hier rauskommen. Und jetzt gucken wir mal, wie viele Trinkets wir haben. To answer that, we need to take stock of our current trinket count. Everybody, place the trinkets you have here. People complied, and in the end, a very small pile was formed. 5? Really? Man, we suck. Well, perhaps if we split up, we had been able to find more. Technically, we found 7, but Mouse let Pig take 2. Are we seriously still on that? Yes. Let's move on to more relevant matters. Naturally, we're going to need more than just these if we want to get out together. I thought about what Ox just said for a moment. I remember the state of the board. I remember the 5 rounds we had left. Did we need more trinkets? Was it possible to get all 10 of us out at the end of the same turn with just what we had? Mal gucken. Ich brauche nochmal... warte kurz, ich muss kurz das Board angucken. Ich muss kurz einen anderen Partner machen, um das Board anzugucken. Von daher... Das heißt, ich muss kurz auf meine Dokumente gehen und die Aufnahme letztes Mal angucken. So. Das ist die Aufnahme, die ich suche. Das ist nicht die Aufnahme, die ich suche. Das ist die jetzige Aufnahme. Upsi. Das ist die jetzige. Die AV brauche ich. Die AV brauche ich bitte.
Willkommen zurück bei...
Nein, nicht. Nein. Nee. Sound brauche ich nicht. Ich brauche nur Bild. Da. So. Wir haben noch 5 Runden, haben die gesagt. Und wir brauchen... Mal gucken. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wir brauchen... Also Ochs und ich brauchen 2 Runden. Tiger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Also hier uns jetzt mal. Das war Runde 7. Genau, das heißt, wir sind Runde 8. Und wir haben wie viele Runden Zeit nochmal gehabt? 12? Oder ich glaube, wir haben 12 Runden Zeit. Kurz zum ersten Part nochmal rübergehen. Richtig Research hier. So, mal gucken hier. Part. Ich glaube, Part 2 ist der richtige. Nein, Part 2 ist nicht der richtige. Part 3 ist der richtige. Da. Ja, 24 Schritte. Und wir haben wie viel Zeit? Aha. Da. 12 Runden haben wir. Okay. Consist of 12 Rounds. Und wir sind in Runde 8 jetzt. Das heißt, wir haben noch 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 5 Runden. Perfekt. 8 Runden Zeit und das Board sah ganz okay aus eigentlich. Also Tiger schafft's. Wir schaffen es durch Alps am Ende jetzt durch. Mit 5 Trinkets, die wir haben. Oh, warte, Dragon. Dragon muss ja 2 Mal aussetzen mindestens. Warte, Dragon muss ja aussetzen 2 Mal. Also mal gucken. So. Wir haben 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wir brauchen 2 Runden. Tiger braucht 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tiger braucht 4 Runden. Das ist machbar. Monkey braucht 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Es dürften eigentlich alle schaffen von da, wo ich sehe, oder nicht? Deswegen. Aber warte. Zur gleichen Zeit. Oh ne, es geht, ja klar geht das, weil... Ach nee, warte. Doch. Okay, wir machen jetzt mal, fangen hinten an. Hinten haben wir jetzt, ganz hinten haben wir keinen, weil ich nicht sehen kann, was unten ist. Genau, Pig ist da vorne, Pig ist jetzt fest. So, Dragon braucht ein paar Runden. Dragon braucht mindestens 3 Runden. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 Runden. 4 Runden braucht sie. Es braucht auch 2 Runden für erst. Warte. Das ist okay. Mhm. Ich glaube, wir brauchen gar nicht alle. Ich glaube, wir brauchen nicht alle. Hold on. Huh? Actually, I don't think we need to spread ourselves like that. We can succeed with what we have here. Huh? Explain. Okay, so look at this. Dankeschön. Genau. Weil wir könnten zweimal runnen und dann können wir einen Trinket benutzen. Wir können auch mehr Runden brauchen. Bunny kann Trinkets nutzen. Tiger kann das auch machen. Und Sheep kann ihre Aktionen, kann ebenfalls dahin laufen, so wie sie möchte. Und Rooster kann 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 laufen. Eine Runde. 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 Runden. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 Runden. Und dann kann er hier den Encouraging Crow benutzen für Dragon und dann weiterkommen. I walked over to the television screen and used it to illustrate my reasoning. In round 8, I'll let you ride on Ox. He'll stampede again. Oh, also geht's auch. Tiger and Bunny will just run for now. Dragon has to stay still and fire breath again. Snake will just run. Horse gallops 3 spaces ahead again. Sheep will use all 3 of her actions to sweet sleep, which should give her a total of 7 actions next turn. I can do that? Nothing says you can't. Rooster will use Encouraging Crow and Snake. Then we can use Monkey's tablet to Encouraging Crow Rooster. But Monkey's dead. Yeah, but it doesn't mean her tablet doesn't work. Dog will just run once. And Pig will get burned. Next, let's look at run 9. Ox and I can simply run on 1 space each. Then Tiger, Bunny, and Snake will all use minor trinkets, moving 4 spaces ahead. Horse will run 3 spaces. She will use all 7 actions to Sweet Sleep, giving her a total of 15 actions next turn. Wow! Yeah, Sleep's power is really useful. Rooster uses Encouraging Crow on the person furthest behind, up, top. That is Bunny. And then we boost Rooster another 4 spaces by copying Encouraging Crow by Monkey. At this point, the closest person in the front of Dog will be Tiger, 7 spaces away. So using this rapid leap, he can move all the way up to where Ox and I will be. Pig is burned. So far so good. So far so good. Round 10. Ox and I run. Tiger, Bunny, and Dragon and Snake each use the minor trinket. Each moves 4 spaces. Horse gallops 3 spaces. Sheep uses all 15 actions to Sweet Sleep, giving her a total of 31 actions next turn. This seems a little much. Rooster uses Encouraging Crow and Tiger, moving 4 spaces closer. Monkey uses Rooster, moving him 4 spaces closer. Dog just runs. Pig is burned. This is where things get tricky. Not really. We just need to be coordinated and trust one another. Which we now can. Ox, Tiger, Bunny, Snake, Dog, and I all run 1 space. Dragon, Horse, and Rooster all use minor trinkets to move 3 spaces closer. Sheep gets 63 actions for next turn. Monkey, to make sure Encouraging Crow is still available, to copy with Monkey See, Monkey Do, used on Sheep. Is that allowed? I remember the wording Brian used. It should allow it. And Pig is still burned. Finally, we come to round 12, our last round. Ox and I run to the finish line. Tiger, Bunny, Dragon, and Snake all use minor trinkets, all go to the finish line. Horse gallops safely to the finish line. Sheep use all 63 of their actions to fucking zoom right into the finish line in the speed of light. It doesn't matter what risk it is. What matters is that Monkey uses Encouraging Crow and sends Rooster to the finish line. And Dog runs to the finish line. And from there, Pig can do whatever she wants. 10 people have already tied for first. That can't be undone. Wow. So you're saying? I'm saying we've already won. We've identified the traitors, so there's no reason to distrust anyone in the group. We have everything we need right here, so we can all stay in the cafeteria, taking turns to input the restrooms or something. Pig, their life threat, is trapped in the room over there, with no recourse. She'd have to take on all of us try and escape with just happening. We could all make it to the end exactly within the time limit. This is game, set, and match. Everyone looked nervously towards each other. Nobody wants to believe something so miraculous could be true, but it was. There was no need for some grand climax, some tense finale. We just need to follow a simple set of orders, and all 10 of us will make it out alive. We beat Brian's twisted game. Well, I think we owe a hand to Mouse. Verlagen must sort it out. Me? It was not trouble at all, just logistics sorting and all. Yes, it was very impressive. Everything in a tract. I think we can just stay here and do that. And just stay here and do what we did. It was an odd, ominous feeling. In theory, we had already won. There shouldn't be any reasons this wouldn't just work and let us escape. But no one would exactly be celebrating until we are actually out of this demonic building. So instead, we all sort of stood around in an odd silence. We kept an eye on Pig's door and made small talk, but that was mostly it. Everyone seemed to follow the plan to a T. Around 9, around 10, time passed without any danger popping up. My mind wandered to strange places. Despite what had been said, what had been shown, I want to see Monkey's dead body for myself. I want to confirm it was real. Ultimately, check the body. Curiosity got the best of me. I strolled over to the classroom where the dead deed was done and suddenly peered in. I don't know what I was expecting. I saw Monkey lying face first in a puddle of her blood. There was a bit by her neck, but also a lot more by her stomach. As soon as I got a clean enough look, I immediately walked away and shook my head. Why did I want to look at that? What perverse impulse had driven me to do such a thing? Thank God it hadn't been a more gruesome scene. Curiosity more than sated, I moved away from the body. Time passed without a threat. Then, I thought I heard some noise coming from the room Pig was occupied in. Bunny and I, who were both nearby, went to check it out. As soon as I looked, I realized something was wrong. Pig had collapsed on the floor and was spamming, gripping at her throat. Soon enough, she stopped moving at all. I also noticed that the bike chain was no longer locked. Without thinking about it, Bunny immediately went to enter the room. I wanted to stop him, but he didn't give me the opportunity. So instead, I just followed him in. I wasn't sure what I was looking at. A glass bottle filled with something had broken right by Pig's body. Her neck was badly burned from some sort of chemical. It was disgusting to look at. What had happened? Then my attention turned to a nearby desk. A note had been placed on it, a note with a lot of writing on it. As soon as I looked at it closer, I realized Pig had written it. Was this a will of some kind? Did Pig do this to herself? I began to read, and Bunny looked over my shoulder. To whoever ends up reading this, if you're currently reading through this note, that means that I'm dead. How scary to think about. I'm really hoping that it doesn't come to this. But thinking about things realistically, I really have to accept that possibility. Currently, I'm out of options. I'm going to be executed. But even to the end, I'm not just going to accept dying. With the chemicals I brought, I've tried to create something that'll burn through the collar around my neck. If I'm careful with it, maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to get this off my neck. But I guess that didn't work, huh? So since I'm now, dead, I guess it's acts something like a will? Well, that's kinda weird. You usually only get this sort of talk in TV shows and movies. I never thought there'd be an applicable use for that sort of preface, especially one in my life. That's the bright side of dying. I get to go out in a cool way. Anyways, I've got a lot of explaining to do, I feel. I don't even know where to begin. I've written so many articles, it's got to the point that writing is second nature to me. Words sort of effortlessly spring out without me having to even think about it. Aww. I've got the structure down so well I wouldn't even have to think about it. And here, and perhaps the most important thing I'll ever write, I'm struggling to think of what to write. It's funny. That's not even true. I'm not struggling, I'm rambling, which is even worse in a way. I take a second draft at this, but I don't think I have that sort of time. So this is just going to be stream of consciousness. I haven't lived a great life. It's not something I have trouble admitting. I mean, I've kind of known this about myself for the longest time. I just never really stopped to face it. That is until I had to make sure I got that 5 space movement under confession. Perhaps that's why Brian put that mechanic in. Everything I said there was true, by the way. I have both remorse and excuses. At the time, I really needed to make ends meet. I had only just begun living on my own, and up until this point, what I was doing wasn't sustainable. My parents didn't support my ambitions in the slightest. Rest was habitually late. So when I was offered the proverbial deal with the devil, well, horrid as it may be, I accepted without much of a second thought. I mean, if not me, others will be contracted for this. The fact of the matter is, nowadays there's countless people holding on to this by their threats. Any one of them desperate to move even slightly higher. It's Econ 1. When the supply is so much bigger, then the demand price falls to the floor. People will fight for scraps. And the deal I got was more than scraps. Probably compensated, given tons of connections. My public evisceration of Aaron Morris gave me the life I have today. Aaron Morris wasn't the last person I took down. It's not like I've been approached with a deal like that ever since. It's just a simple fact of life. People are just waiting for others to fall. If you treat life like a zero-sum game, as most do, then anyone else falling lifts you up, at least somewhat. Morose Schadenfreude. And in my constant drive of going forwards, growing bigger, I didn't even stop to consider what I was doing. I guess I always thought I'd stop to think about what I really wanted, what I should really be doing later, when I had control of my life. But before I could even blink, I'm now at the end of it. The truth I've learned far too late is that my thinking was flawed. Really, you always have control of your life. You make decisions every minute of every day. That is control. What else would you call it? Waiting for a good time to stop and making a conscious decision of how to direct your life is a luxury we don't get to have. Because there's one time when we don't have control. When we're dead. Man, I could write a really good article with that as a thesis now. People love that self-help crap. I really hope this note never gets read. But it currently is, isn't it? The other thing I want to do now is apologize for my actions. I wasn't ready to accept my death. It's as simple as that. Initially, I wasn't sure what to do. I might have just done nothing until it was too late. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that wasn't right. If it just finished first, I could keep on moving forwards. Who cares about what happened before that? The chaos and darkness of this race will erase what happened here. The truth will be written by the survivors. For all the cops care, Brian decided to execute you all for any number of reasons. It was that flawed reasoning that infected my brain that drove me to this point. Only after being trapped in this room do I realize just how horrible I've become. But in this note, I have a final request. You're probably just going to crumble it up, but I'll give it a shot. Don't tell anyone what I did here. Just say I also gave myself up, that I also let myself be killed. Give me an honorable death. I don't want my legacy to be failed coward dying alone in a room by your own failed escape attempt. I had a pathetic enough life. I just want a better death. But that's too big of an asking, isn't it? Oh well, once again, I'm sorry. I really, really, really am sorry. After that, there was a brief PS, which caught my eye, but other than that, not much else. I stood there, unsure what exactly to do. What should I do? What even could I do? This was the last testament of Pig, a person just like any of us. She written this right before trying to something stupid. Something that ended up getting her killed. And now...
Ja, die Sache ist, sie war in der Situation. Ganz ernsthaft, man kann hier keinen Leuten Vorwurf machen, wirklich. Die sind in einer tödlichen Situation, man muss da mal ein bisschen ja.
I guess we should bring this to the group. Bunny, who read the note over my shoulder, nodded his head. I agree. And like that, I returned to the cafeteria and gathered everyone. Then I read out what Pig had written to everybody. Well, everything minus the postscript. After I finished speaking, nobody knew what to say. It's what I thought would happen, but one person made their opinion abundantly clear right away. Snake. Night Dragon! Fuck that noise. That bitch tries to fucking kill us all, and the moment that fails, she no-toes like a little bitch. Like hell I'm gonna kill her. Dragon found an unexpected ally in the form of Tiger, who nodded her head. It sounds like another desperate plea from Pig. Very like her. Well, I don't tend to do favors to those who try to kill me and our allies. In addition, she would be asking us to lie to the police about a fairly serious incident. I see no benefit in that. But shouldn't we? Could we at least omit some of the stuff Pig did? She was probably just scared for her life.
No one ended up dying, so no harm, no foul?
Just because nobody died, your actions should be forgiven.
I think the world would be better if there was a bit more forgiveness around.
It is an interesting quandary. If we were to lay the facts out as it is, Pig would like to be painted as a villain by the media, perhaps just as much of one as Brian. I mean, the story's just too good, not to mention she's a semi-relevant online presence. People eat it up. I, for one, see no sin in a careful omission in facts, if it's to protect one's dignity. Honestly, I harbor no ill will towards Pig. She was dealt an unfortunate hand, played the game the best she could, and knew when to concede with grace.
I couldn't just stay silent anymore. I think we owe Pig at least that.
Ja, ganz ernsthaft, ich bin dabei.
I think we owe Pig at least this much. She was a victim of Brian, when you think about it. For her actions under these circumstances to define her, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's fair. Thinking about it rationally, simply not telling everything that happened really shouldn't matter too much.
I'm inclined to agree. Pig's actions are hardly relevant to the case. I believe not much would be lost by skimping on those details.
As police officer, I can get behind that. It sounds like we're going to hide the truth then.
I guess. You're a bunch of pussies, but whatever. If that's what the group says, guess that's what we're doing.
And so a course of action was decided. We'd fulfill Pig's last request and hide the full truth. Just as soon as the conversation had begun, it ended. Time passed. We stuck to the plan. No need to deviate. No traitor or complications. Just following simple rules. Eventually, it was near the end of the final round. I stood in the corner of the cafeteria, thoughts bouncing my head. There was a lot to think about. Eventually, Dragon walked over to me.
Hey, I know this might seem weird coming from me, but are you okay?
Are any of us?
True enough. This really fucked me up, I can tell you that much. But you look different. You look like you're thinking again.
I'm always thinking. Most people are.
Now that's a lie, if I've ever got them heard one. You don't hang out with the right people.
Sounds like I hang around with exactly the right people.
Oh, the demons are more fun. Anyways, what is this you're thinking about?
The note Pig left us. It had a postscript.
Oh.
Thank God I found it, or else I fear the note might not have seen the light of day. At the end of the note, there was a P.S. P.S. I'll leave this last section as an apology to Brian. I don't know what to do with this information, but if there really was something at work about the trial, I figure I should say it. Before my motive changed, when I really was looking into the case, I did my best to follow the money. There's a saying in journalism, follow the money and you see the full story. Now, there's a limit to what I could figure out from my position. What I'm about to say isn't based on hard evidence. In fact, I bet at this point it'd be impossible to even find what I'm talking about. But I believe this information is solid. This trial confirms it for me. The victim, Amadeus Bowen, made a lot of hidden transactions, and a lot of them are connected to the people here. With the prosecutor's department that Ox works in, with the police president that Bunny works in, with the bar Doc works in. He employed sheep, he commissioned Snake for art, he was making a business deal with Tiger. There's evidence he gave money to a construction worker and took money from the parents of an aspiring actor.
Rooster. Horse.
This was all happening well up until October when he was killed. The only people who I can't remember having any connection to Amadeus Bowen are Mouse, Dragon, and Monkey. I don't know what this means, but I don't know. I feel I should write it down as well.
October? Okay.
So?
Sounds to me like everyone here is fucking dirty.
I admit it doesn't sound great. But dirty of what?
Dirty of something.
I think it might be a mistake to connect everyone here together just based on this though. I mean, for one, this is based on very shaky evidence. Pig's memories of her unproven investigation. And more to the point, look at everyone's personalities, their backgrounds. Do you really think they could all be in on anything?
But it's like Pig said in the note. The fact that all of us are gathered here has gotta be proof of something.
Is it?
What do you mean?
I've been thinking this for a bit, but how did Brian get his hands on this information? He definitely wasn't old enough to do this sort of investigation when the incident happened. And even now, a high schooler shouldn't be able to get their hands on all this information. Especially if it's being buried, like Pig claimed. Yeah, well, a high schooler also can't usually set up a fucking death game. We're clearly not dealing with your average kid. The people Pig talked about are all here. That can't be nothing. Alright then, in that case, why are you here? Huh? If we're all brought here for good reasons, then what's your connection to any of this? I'm telling you, I don't have any. Really? Really. The only person that even looks somewhat familiar to me is Dog, but I can't place him. Beyond that, I've got nothing. There wasn't much more to say after that. Thinking didn't pass time. The round ended, and the race board updated. To be honest, I couldn't even bear to look at the accursed thing. From the start, it's been far from trouble than it's worth. All that mattered was the announcement that came next. The finish line has been crossed. The winners are rat, ox, tiger, bunny, dragon, snake, horse, sheep, rooster, and dog. Congratulations! Anyone who has not won has lost. Anyone who has not won has lost. Prepare for execution. Those last words were a non-threat. After all, the only people who hadn't won were already dead. Just then, the colors came undone. We were free. I breathed a huge sigh of relief. However, right before I could fully accept and celebrate, a voice came on that stopped my heart. Congratulations, contestants. You've achieved a peaceful ending. I didn't have to execute anyone. You lucked out. Defective personalities were the two suicidal idiots willing to take one for the team. Brian. I don't know what game you were watching, jackass, but I wouldn't call Pig suicidal. She ended up killing herself, did she not? Ah, but I suppose that is aside from the point. I can't say that I am overly pleased with this outcome. Two of the lighter criminals are dead. Don't get me wrong, they both deserved it. One perverted justice, the other refused to see a truth. But still, I can't help but feel the large criminals got away. If you wish to kill us, you could have done so. Yeah, not satisfied you didn't get to appease your murder boner, you little shit? Talking a lot of shit because things didn't work out how you planned. Do not misunderstand me. This is an intended outcome of the race. Everyone was given the chance to face justice for their sins. Sometimes you were extremely lucky. We weren't lucky. I don't think we just beat the game. We just beat your game. You all seem awfully cocky for a group who lost two of their members. We had to lose at least two people. It was your dumb rule. Blind men truly are jesters to those who can see. Now then, until we meet again. Just like that, the voice went away. The band of superiority in Brian's voice as he left us pissed me off not to no end, but I couldn't dwell on that now. Like it or not, we won. We may have lost Monkey, but 10 of us didn't die. That might have been as good as I could hope when thrust into such a shitty situation. In the end, myself, ox, tiger, bunny, dragon, snake, horse, sheep, rooster, and dog escaped alive. This was a good ending. King of Spades. If nothing is found in the first 3 rounds but sheep's clothing, Pig will be assigned a role that forces her to act. She's a coward, and if pushed towards it, will try and escape by herself. She doesn't have it in herself to kill, and will instead try to let the game mechanics do the work for her. In all likelihood, this plot will be thwarted, and a majority of the cast will be spared. This scenario makes fulfilling the object particularly challenging. And cleaning up after the fact will be difficult. No, this may be a good enough ending for Mouse, but it won't do it for me. Okay, dann nicht. Death Cards. Ach, guck mal, wir haben das Ende, wo 3 gekommen sind. Und das Ende, wo Monkey... Okay, das geht sogar noch. Gut. Dann sind wir gut dabei. Ich versuche nächsten Part die nächsten beiden Sachen zu finden. Und dann war es auch schon wieder für diese Route. Und dann suchen wir die Monkey-Route, denn die muss auch noch kommen. Dann bis nächstes Mal und auf Wiedersehen.